What is up, everyone, and welcome to Grow As We Go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fatima.
I'm Diana.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Angie. And today we have a very special guest, one of our very best friends, Vivi. Vivi, you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Viviana. I'm 21. I am currently working as an administrative assistant. I'm also pursuing my major in sociology. Some of my hobbies are I like going to the gym. Currently, right now, with the whole situation, it's been kind of hard, but the gym, hanging out with my friends, my girls, and yeah.
Yay! We're so excited to have you today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Alrighty, y'all. Today we're going to be diving into different sorts of relationships in college and how that has transitioned from high school and how we've developed them and how we keep them, and starting off with our own friendship that we had started in high school and how we have developed that and kept it strong and bonded all the way throughout college. And I'm sure we're gonna keep this going till we're old wrinkly ladies. So yeah, How has this experience been for you guys?
I feel like for me, our friendship coming out of high school to like the whole college thing, it was kind of hard because half of the group split up. You know, everybody went their own ways. And even though that we were here from home, like Fatima, Diana, and then Angie was pretty close still, but even though we were all still kind of local, it was still hard because we all had different schedules, work schedule, school schedule. It wasn't as easy because in high school, I feel like we had all the time in the world. We had less responsibility. So when the real world hit, so did all the responsibilities like that come with that. So I feel like that's my intake on the transition.
Thankfully, we have social media and we're able to connect all the time through Snapchat, Instagram. We had a Twitter, and we have a group message literally in every social media platform. And I feel like that's helped us so much, because if it wasn't for that, we would still feel disconnected from one another. But like, good thing we're still keeping up to date. We're still like showing each other's clothing hauls here and there. Like, we still feel connected in that sense.
I feel like that was my number one worry too, because I remember like a teacher in high school was like, you guys are not going to be friends with each other after graduation. Like, you guys are not going to see each other anymore. Like, you guys better hold on to the friendships you have now. Like, life is just going to come at you like a train and hit you fast, and you're going to lose all your friends. And I was like, oh crap, like, is this true, you know? And I do believe that she had that experience because like as you said, Dana, like, there wasn't social media to keep up with each other, and just texting, like, some people aren't texters, you know, life happens. So I was very worried, but like, thankfully, like, social media, like, everything nowadays, it's not common to lose friends from high school. Like, it's easier to keep up with friends from high school, although you all have different life paces in college.
Yeah, I've actually analyzed that. I think our generation, because we grew up with technology, we do have that advantage of having that type of communication, even with long distance. Well, some of our friends, our really close friends, went really far away. Gotti, she went like 6-7 hours away from us, and I was just super scared, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna find like new friends. And I knew she was gonna find new friends, but I don't know if she was gonna be with us anymore, or like certain, like, all of us, you know. The older I got, I appreciated more our relationship, and I'm very, very privileged to say I have you guys in my life.
For me, I shared the same concern with all you guys about like if our friendship was going to remain strong. And like, I mean, a lot of you I've been friends with since middle school, since elementary school, even before then. So going away from college and us not being in the same town anymore was such a huge concern of mine. I'm like, how am I going to keep up, or how are we still going to have the same friendship, especially when we're all making routines in our lives like elsewhere.
Stemming off of what Fatima said, in high school, we all kind of had like that sense of security, like, we're all here, like, I'm not going to lose them. And like I said, after, that's when all like of our responsibilities and reality really hit. We've never been away, you know, we were together for like 6+ years, you know.
I just remember that like when we were all applying for colleges, we were all so focused on our own paths, which is amazing, that we didn't even think about, at least I never thought about or shared with like, hey, let's all apply to the same schools. Like, we were all so independent in the sense of like where we wanted to go. So when we all ended up you know, doing our acceptances and like touring colleges that we actually were going to attend to, it started to hit me like, oh wow, like most of us are going to completely different colleges from one another. And for me, going to college without having my close friends there really hit me in some ways, like especially my freshman year, I was very sheltered, just for a multitude of reasons. I have a very hard time adapting with change, so not having that core support system physically with me was very difficult.
Because before it was always, if you want to, you would do it. You know what I mean? If you want to keep that friendship with somebody, you're gonna do it. You're gonna keep some sort of contact with them. But like I'll slide up on like my friends' stories, or like I'll like happy birthday, or like how are you, like just checking in on you. And I feel like that's a way that I've helped maintain some of my friendships. And even then, just because you don't talk to somebody every single day, at least because you don't have like a Snapchat streak, or you don't text them every single day, at least for me personally, that friendship is still there.
Yeah.
But I think that all has to do with like the foundation of the friendship as well.
I think that's a really cool part too about going to college, is that you get to meet a lot of new people, especially if you're fully integrating yourself into college. One thing though, it does take time. It takes time to build strong, solid friendships. For me, it took a minute. Ashley's really good at making friends, so like, and she fully inserted herself, like she truly hit the ground running from day one. So like, I'm not surprised that she like made such a core group of friends like right from the get-go. But at least for me, it took a little bit of time for me to realize, even though I had acquaintances and like friends, but people that I genuinely want to invest time into and grow with, it did take time to develop. But those friendships also are so special, and they kind of bring another perspective into what friendships look like, other than like friends that you've been having since high school.
Yeah, and I would say that that's kind of like the best thing that I thought was cool of going to like different places or doing stuff after high school, is that at least like if you grow up in a small town, or like a town where everybody went to the same middle school, high school and stuff, everybody knows each other's histories or like type of person that they are. And I feel like going to like, let's say you go to a new job or you go to a new college, like you kind of have like this whole new persona to yourself. Like nobody knows what you've done in the past, nobody knows you did this, like you have like this fresh slate. And I feel like that's just like so that's like a breath of fresh air, because you fully have initiative to take your life where you want to take it to. And like, let's say you were very reserved in high school or something, but then you go to a different location after and you're like, I want to make friends, I want to incorporate myself into more friendships and stuff. So I feel like that's another beautiful thing about going to college, or doing something after high school, you know, like high school doesn't define you for the rest of your life.
Even making friendships in your workplace, if people didn't go to college after high school, even the relationships that you make can really influence you and maybe expand your mind.
Branching off to like from what Diana said, I'm very quiet and I'm very shy, so it's not super easy for me. It's a little bit harder, and there's times where I just don't know how to talk. So I feel like in college, I didn't really gain that much friendships.
I would actually say the same. I mean, I'm not quiet or shy. I did make a lot of friends, but they were more of like study friends that I had in certain classes, and I would hang out with them a lot, like during class, or we would reserve rooms in the library and study together. And I did make good friends and good study groups in college, and my relationships never really went far. Because in college, I feel like in every single class, every time I would sit next to somebody, everybody was just so friendly. They were like, oh my god, how are you? Or what's your name? Or let's exchange phone numbers and exchange emails or something. And they would be really comfortable around me, and I would be comfortable around them. I think it's something very important to do also in college, because
networking.
You have that someone like, okay, maybe they understand something I don't, and I understand something they don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Or what if you miss class? It's so important to exchange your number with the person who sits next to you. Yeah. Because you share notes. Sometimes, especially if the professor's lecturing, sometimes you guys pick up different things.
All you saying this kind of makes me reflect on, I wish that I did that in my freshman and sophomore year, because it's not only until my senior or junior year that I started to actually like, hey, my name's Diana, because I was like too shy in the beginning, and I felt so intimidated, because it's like college, like nobody's gonna want to talk to me, like I didn't even know that was a thing, to like share your information, to gain like, you know, notes are helpful. Yeah, and looking back to my junior and senior year when I actually like made those connections, I think it was more so because people were coming up to me finally. I mean, like I said, I don't know what school Fati was going to, I mean, because that didn't happen to me, but I think it was like up until someone came up to me, I was like, oh shoot, this is a thing. And like when it was like reoccurring, I'd be like, oh, this is normal, like, oh, I should put myself out there. And then I saw the value of what that really meant, and that's how I gained the courage to really like, hey, my name's Diana, like, do you want to be my friend? Or like not even that, but you know what I mean, like it gave me the drive to do that.
I think this is overall advice to anyone who's going to college after high school. Fully immerse yourself as soon as possible. That looks different to everyone. That could be either joining a club, spending more time on campus, trying not to just go to class and then go home, exchanging phone numbers with people around you, connections with your professors. Like, there's so many things that you can do. Like, for example, for me, my second year, I ended up joining a sorority, and that helped me a lot with making new friends, making study partners. I'm gonna be honest, like, that completely shaped my college experience. Like, a lot of my close friends have been my sorority sisters, or I have met through this community.
So for me, I had a complete opposite experience. It was very just go to school, do what I have to do, come back home, and that was it. And I feel like that's something that I do now regret, and I wish I would have gotten more involved. So if I could give advice to someone, you know, who's might be timid or might be shy or doesn't really know where to start, looking into research, talking to more people in my classes, seeing what they're into, see if maybe that like sparks something in myself, like maybe that's a hobby that I would want to try, or even like elective classes too. Maybe that's like, I feel like even those little things, you kind of stem off of other people's like creativity. It's kind of like, wait, like what if that's something like that I like her? So I feel like even though like they might not be long lasting friendships, I still feel like it's an important relationship to establish, at least throughout like your college years, 100%. If you do end up like going that route, you know?
I like what you said, Vivi, about when you mentioned about how even though those are not going to be long lasting friendships, they're still like important friendships, because I feel like it all goes back to like networking and knowing people. And I think that's a really big thing that happened to me, or that I realized in college, how important it is to network, because it's like, oh, we had that one class together. How are you? What are you up to? And it's like, you can still bounce a relationship off of that. Obviously, it doesn't have to be forever, but like, I think it's just good to know people. And that can take you, like, you'd be surprised where that can take you.
Yeah, and I also think commuting is also a big influence on participating in school and stuff. There's times where I had to go to school from like 8 in the morning all the way to like 6 p.m. And during my gaps, I would just do homework or study. And I really didn't have like the courage to join a group or join a club or something like that.
I think another thing, if you're living on campus, a thing to note is to just like, once again, like put yourself out there. Like, I made one of my best friends from college. She literally just knocked on my dorm door and she's like, hey, are you going to this event? Can I go with you? She lived next to me and she literally just had that courage to like just knock on me, and that she has been like one of my bestest friends from college. So you never really know who you're going to talk to, or like how they can influence your life. It's so scary to do, but I feel like try to put yourself up there first, and you never know what can happen, what can come from it. And you know what? The worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and you tried your best, you know?
One of my biggest regrets is that I lived on campus I lived on the dorms my first year, and I don't feel like I took advantage of that to the fullest until probably my second semester. But by then, even then, I don't feel like I took it to the fullest advantage. Like, I would go home every weekend, or I didn't really put myself out there. I didn't really go to any events that housing would do or ASI would do. And for the most part, especially if you're going to school at any of the public California universities, you are going to have ASI, which is your student government. I'm sure every campus has some sort of form. Those organizations always have some sort of event going on for college students, especially if you're a freshman. There's a lot of events that your college should be doing or is doing, so that way you can get integrated and feel like college is a home. And I really recommend putting yourself out there and going to those events. Even if you go alone, I'm sure, I know that's really intimidating, but know that everybody's on the same page. Another important question, Vivi kind of talked about this earlier, to ask everyone what their major is and why they do it, because that's going to also help you figure out exactly like if that might spark something in you, and you get to see like, oh, they're doing this because of this. So if you're undecided, that might help you figure out what it is that you want to do by asking people, what is your major and why did you choose that?
But even if you are decided and you think like, this is what I want to do, that can literally change. Like, wake up one day and it's like, is this really what I want to do? What other opportunities are out there? Not a lot of people know what's really out there. And like me speaking like on like a personal level, like I feel like there's so many things that I did not really explore that now I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? Like, it's not just this and this. Like, I can also like, if I'm majoring in this, I can also do this. Like, it's not just so like ABC, this is what you can do and that's it.
I think we all had a universal worry of how we would maintain relationships throughout college, especially also romantic relationships.
Being in a relationship in college kind of, I feel like, took me away of being fully immersed in college without even realizing it, because at the moment I loved the person and I wanted to spend my time with that person. And my focus was just our world college was like whatevs at the time, you know, and I didn't really see the broader picture. I mean, I think at the time I only knew as much as I knew, and I thought I was doing good in college and stuff like that, but I think I didn't see the need to immerse myself so much in college because of that.
I definitely could relate, especially because I felt really torn when I was in a relationship in college, especially during the transition, because in my head I wanted to make efforts to like make my life in college, but also still keep my life, some aspects of my life back home strong. So I felt very torn, and I felt myself giving more to my relationship aspect, which took away energy that I could have put into fully immersing myself into college.
For me at the time, it just seemed way more fun and way more interesting to be with my person instead of college. Like at the time I was like, college is like whatever, like college is mundane kind of. Like I didn't really have someone to tell me like, no, you should do this, this, and this in college. Like I didn't have anybody in my family. I wasn't really connected with my family in that sense at that time. So the only person I was connected to was my relationship. And I think that's why I had so much passion for it instead of my college. I think that's why I kind of let go of my independence because of that, because I was like, well, I don't know about college, like whatever, you know, like I have this person who really cares about me, and like we have a grand time together, and like why not spend my time with him all the time, you know?
One thing that I would tell my younger self, for anybody who is going into college with a relationship, is to really analyze the relationships and the strengths and the weaknesses, and really think about if that's something that you could still maintain in a healthy way in college, in the sense of any relationship that's meant to be in your life through these transitional periods will remain strong, and anything else, just allow it to be and allow it to go as it came, and don't hold on to these attachments, and don't, especially during college, it is the time to really immerse yourself and to really take advantage of this independency. And I know it's super scary and super new, but there's just so much to learn through that. Just know that anything that is meant to stay will stay, and anything else, just allow it to go.
I think adding on to what you're saying, I would tell my younger self that if you want to be in that relationship at that time, that's totally fine. Just try to look at the bigger picture of your life and try to see yourself without the person real quick, and see if you are doing the best that you can in college, and, you know, really thriving yourself and not really being so interdependent on the person. I know at the time you're kind of blinded by it, and you're like, I am independent, like I am doing my own things, but it's like you really have to just analyze yourself and reflect on if the time you're spending with this person, if it's a healthy amount of time.
I think it's very important that you ladies pointed that out, because in the beginning, when we were transitioning into college, my boyfriend and I were in completely different routes. I was going to college and he wasn't. So that was like a big no at the time. I just thought college was the only way to go and be successful in life. I think at that point we did bump heads a lot, but I think after that many times bumping heads, I think it made us stronger, because he encourages me, he supports me and what I wanted to do in college. And every time I have those panic attacks or anxiety attacks, like he calls me, he's the one there to pretty much heal me and comfort me and tell me I can do this. And he's become a very determined person, and every time when he wants something, he goes for it now. And I've seen him grow so much since. Although we're in different paths, we're still able to balance.
And a healthy relationship shouldn't keep you from attaining your own
doing
path.
What you're doing. Yeah. A lot of people think that in order for you to grow or like really learn yourself, that you need to do that alone. And I feel that that's not always true. Because obviously, like my relationship, I feel like that there is, at least like with him, obviously he's a year older, but I feel like it's just your mindset. If you guys both have the same mindset, then it's a lot easier to do what you want to do, have them do what they want to do, and still continue growing. Like if it's meant to be, then it'll be, and like a healthy relationship should not stop you from your growth.
I think it's just, you just have to find that person that's willing to support you throughout whatever you want to complete in your life. And I think it's also important to realize and analyze that that person is not going to create a barrier that is not needed to be there for no reason. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like a partner should support you no matter what you want to do, regardless if it might hurt your relationship or not. Like, I feel like they should always see what's the best interest for you at the end of the day. At least that's how I see it, you know?
100%.
I think something that I really value in my relationship with my boyfriend is that he gives me time for myself, and he's not always like breathing on my neck and trying to text me like 24. I mean, he does text me all the time, but it's not like, oh my God, and when are you gonna text me back? Like, or having text me back or whatever, you know? He gives me that time because he knows I'm busy with school, and like I need time for myself, and I give him time for himself as well, you know?
He is a part of you as a person. Like, you guys are separate people who are riding a wave, your own wave, but you guys are in some way sharing some sort of experience together. But at the end of the day, you are still a separate entity, and like he gives you that space to be separate and to be you, and that's really healthy.
I think for me, I've maintained single all these years in college, and I feel like I've been living the best life. I've been living it up, and I don't necessarily feel like I have like that need for me to have or that want to like be in a relationship, and I feel like I'm perfectly fine. Obviously, in a relationship, you're investing your time into something. Not having a relationship has allowed me to invest my time into more friendships, into more careers, into other aspects of my life that help me become a better person. Moral of the story, you don't have to be in a relationship in college. It's fine if you're single. Don't feel pressured that like you need to have a relationship.
Now to jump into our Discover Her segment, what did you all learn or take away from this conversation?
I think my biggest takeaway from this session is that try to create those relationships that's going to help you grow rather than creating those barriers in your growth time. And as well, before getting into a relationship, I think you should create a very healthy relationship with yourself.
I think what I took away from this conversation is to always be in the present and be where it is that you are at and fully immerse yourself into that and be intentional with any sort of relationship, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, little relationships with the person sitting next to you in class. Like, be intentional with the time and energy that you put out there, especially with yourself in college, as it is so much growth happens between 18 years old from when you start college around that time to when you're 22 or roughly when you graduate. So really be intentional with your energy and your time.
I think what I learned from this conversation is if you have those people in your life and you want them to stay in your life, they'll stay in your life regardless of what you guys may go through. And I think at the end of the day, that's what makes your relationship grow fonder for each other and you appreciate them more. So what's meant to be will be meant to be.
Something that I got out of this conversation is to really get out of your shell and actually explore not only like yourself, but your surroundings, your settings, your friendships, your relationships. And like you guys said, that can be with your relationship with yourself, relationship with your friends, parents, family, friends, romantic ones, any. Really like submerging yourself and, like Angie said, being present, because I feel like a lot of the times we worry about like our past experiences, or maybe like, oh, like what if, worrying about like the future, or like, oh, what if we break off, or what if this happens, and that just creates like a really negative headspace. So I feel like that affects you in like all aspects.
Also from this conversation, I took that the importance of leaving the past behind and saying goodbye to the chapter of high school and transitioning to college and not bringing your past into your college life. And what I mean is basically let go of your high school self, say your salutes and say your hellos to your college life, and really enjoy yourself.
Alrighty, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you so much, Vivi. We had such a great time having you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. It's been honestly an honor, and I feel like talking with you girls, we always expand. Like, we always end up going from one topic to a complete different, like it ends up being a 2-hour conversation. So I'm really thankful for you guys and can't wait to see what topics come up next.
All right, for more content, head over to our IG Grow As We Go podcast, and we also have a YouTube channel, which is also Grow As We Go podcast. We hope you all enjoyed your dose of growth for today, and always remember to strive for growth. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Bye.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.